Hello everyone, this is Dongmin Jung and Haewon Hwang. Today, we're going to present Fostering Patience in the Classroom, result from randomized educational intervention. Let's talk about motivation first. I believe most of us have some concentration problem during non-face-to-face session. There are several apps that help us to focus on our study, such as App Detox and Forest apps. They prevent us from using smartphone and give us some incentives. Despite all these applications, we still lose our patience easily and try to do something fun, even if we are an adult. Then, you can imagine how easily young children lose their concentration. According to the other research, patience and self-control at childhood period have close relations with educational attainment, occupational success, and a range of health outcomes. Also, impatience has been found to be associated with lower grade, violation at school, using alcohols and cigarettes, and obesity. Motivated from these studies, our paper provides three main questions. First, can teacher foster children's patience by intervention? Second, how long does the patience persist, short or long term? Last but not least, the relationship between patience and students' behavior. Okay, let's discuss about method now. The main players in the programs are third and fourth graders in elementary schools in Turkey. The students had not been told anything about the games, and students were distributed by three groups: initial treatment group, controlled and treatment group, and pure control group. As you can see in the table, the groups were all randomized, and the difference between three groups are not significant. In order to find out the effect of interventions, researchers conducted several educational programs. These programs were implemented for 8 weeks, 2 hours for each week, by the teachers. These programs include 8 mini cases about imagining future self, self-control against temptation good, and saving. But the children in IT group received the program at phase 1, which is at spring 2013. Children in CT group did not receive the program at spring, but they received at fall 2013. Finally, PC group did not receive any program at all. Students' patience and self-control were evaluated between each phases in order to check both short-term and long-term effect of interventions until 2016 March. Teachers who did not participate in this program were generally involved in other projects. Therefore, the program was unlikely to represent a particularly diligent teacher group. Next, I'm going to address you about how the children were evaluated. Children will receive two kinds of tasks to measure their patience and identify the time inconsistency. In the MPL task, children can choose either 2 gifts immediately or large amount of gifts in 1 week. The minimum larger later amount that induces the children to be willing to wait is a measure of impatience. For example, if children's minimum choice in next week was 4 gifts instead of 2 gifts right now, then researchers record number 4 in their evaluation sheet. The second type of task was CTB task, which is really similar with MPL. In the task, children were asked to allocate 5 tokens between an earlier and a later option, where weighting pays according to an interest rate. For example, they can choose 5 gifts today and 0 gifts in next week, or they can choose 0 gifts today and 6.25 gifts in 1 week. Next, I'll briefly introduce about demand effect. Demand effect is when the subject modifies their behavior to please the experimenters. In this case, children might pick later choice to please teachers. As you can see at below, several measures were taken at the design stage to remove the demand effect. Now, I will discuss about baseline correlation and treatment effect. Table 3 shows that impatience, as measured by the average number of early choice in the MPL task, or the average early allocation in the CTB task, is negatively correlated with math grades and cognitive function. To summarize, less early choice in MPL and CTB is correlated with high math score, low distraction, and good behavior. Now, I'll briefly talk about treatment effect. Y denotes the experimental outcome. That is the number of early choice in the MPL task, or the early allocation in the CTB task, by student I in school J. P is a binary or variable that indicates the treatment status of school J. And X is a vector of observables that are potentially predictive of the outcome measures we use. By transforming this equation, we can find that estimated alpha is the average treatment effect. Table 5 presents estimated treatment effect on the number of early choices in the MPL task for today versus 1 week. The table shows that in the treatment group, children demand on average 0.8 to fewer gifts to wait for a week from today. This result tells us that children who receive treatment sacrifice today's small gift to get larger gifts in future. By the way, these numbers which are in parentheses are standard errors. It's just a measure of close precision between observations. The lower the error term is, the more precise the result. Also, this star means p-value. P-value is probability of happening exceptional case. Just simply regard as degree of error. Of course, the lower it is, the more precisely we can get the result. 1 star means p is under 0.1, 2 star means p is under 0.05, and 3 star means p is under 0.01. Now, we look at the impact of the program as measured in the second phase, where the treated group now includes both IT and CT, and the control group is PC. The outcomes measured in this phase for the IT group can be considered as medium-term outcomes. Since the measurement was carried out 8 months following the implementation of the program. IT group allocated 0.45 fewer tokens to the earlier date. Also, CT group children allocated 0.47 fewer tokens. This result tells us that teachers' intervention persists both short-term and medium-term.
Okay, next, let's look on treatment effect in measurement of phase 3. As you guys remember that this measurement phase uses a CTB task with a single decision. And also, this conducted in an anonymous fashion to avoid potential motives to please the experimenters or teacher. Then, with this CTB, what can we know about? At phase 3, the measurement took place about a year after the program was completed in the IT group and about 6 months after it's in the CT group. Therefore, they can show whether the treatment effect is still there up to a period of 1 year after training. That's why we can check treatment effect persistency. The table shows the marginal effects on smaller today choice. As you can see here, control subject, which is PC, never treated, allocate 2.23 tokens to today, but IT and City group allocate 0.72 and 0.64 fewer tokens than them, which means decrease on small today choice persists. So, the results suggest that a significant treatment effect still stands after up to a year from the implementation of the program. Okay, then given these results on experimental outcomes, the immediate question that follows is, has the program made any impact on actual behavior? For example, do these results have some effect on high grade at school? Well, this section answers this question with respect to a behavior conduct at school. In Phase 3, not only CTB, we also collected administrative records for all pupils before they proceed to middle school, which includes the behavior grade based on a 1 to 3 scale. With this data, we can see the treatment effect on behavior conduct at school. Therefore, the table shows the marginal effect on low behavior grade, which is lower than 3. And why low? Because we want to know whether treatment effect reduces students' disciplinary school problems, not whether it directly affects to get so much great behavior score. So we focused on students who got low behavior score. And as you can see just here, the program treatment effect, the program has lowered the probability of receiving a low behavior grade by about 10% points. So this result provides evidence that the effect of the intervention extends to real outcomes, behavior, conduct. Probability of getting low grade decreases by treatment. Although at phase 3, we can see the persistency of treatment up to a year, but students were still in elementary school. So here's an important question. Will treatment effect persist in the longer run when students are not in the same classroom with the same teacher anymore? In order to explore the longer-term effect of the education beyond elementary school, we collected data from middle school. And in this phase, we use this sensitivity test also. And therefore, this table can show the marginal effects on smaller today choice. As you can see here, while the students in the control group allocate 1.78 tokens to the earlier date, but IT and city groups allocate about 0.17 and 0.31 fewer tokens than them, which means decrease on small today choice persists. This result suggests that up to almost 3 years after the implementation of the program, treatment effect still stands with changing students' school environment, elementary to middle school. Okay, in this paper, we report results from the impact evaluation of a randomized educational intervention on children's intertemporal choices. The intervention aims to improve the ability to imagine future selves and emphasize forward-looking behavior delivered by trained teachers. After this intervention, we find two big effects. First, treated children make significantly more patient choices in incentivized decision tasks. That presents trade-offs between smaller earlier and larger later rewards. And we saw that effect persists for the long time, about 3 years, even after the participant's graduation. We also find that treated students are significantly less likely to receive a low behavior grade in elementary school, showing that the treatment can be effective in reducing behavior problems. So now, you guys can answer this most essential question that we talked about at the beginning. Can teacher foster children's patience by intervention? The answer, of course, yes. And thank you for listening, all of you guys.